Hello, welcome to All Things Leadership Podcast. My name is Nhlaka, and today we're going to be speaking not to just a leader, but a person who is executing on their dreams, a person who has chosen to pour out his career speaking to young people, encouraging young people. And today, my friend, you can do that. You can make a difference because you do not start from where you hope to be. You start from where you are. So today's guest, igama lakhe Jed Nhlaka.
Thanks very much for that amazing introduction. It's like a new form.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time to come and have a chat with us. And ladies and gentlemen, we are live at Michael House, the boys' school. It's a dope school.
There's only one like it.
Bro, why Michael House?
Why Michael House for me?
For you, yeah.
Well, yeah, as I was saying just before we started rolling, I started my career as a librarian. And so I was interested in getting into education in that sphere. And previously I was working at St. Andrew's College in Grahamstown. And I mean, as I also told you, I'm a Durban boy. So I had this yearning to come back to KwaZulu-Natal. And so I was applying to anywhere and everywhere that was in a similar role, whether they had an opening or not, that was in KZN to see if I could get in a place closer to home. And this opportunity arose and I came in here in 2013 for an interview and was, very, very shortly joined the school.
Wow. Why did you choose a career to be a librarian?
To be honest, it's a lot of different reasons. It brings together a lot of different interests for me. I mean, I studied psychology, but studied psychology and English. But for me, reading books, fiction, imagination were always, part of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be and what I wanted to follow. And so when I was looking for jobs in the formal sphere, let's say, before this, I was working part-time here and there and, looking for something that was a bit more salary-based. It seemed like a natural fit for me into the education sphere since I wasn't really sold on the idea of being a classroom teacher, but I did want to be in this space.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a niche. I mean, a lot of people think of a librarian as being a female role, or like think of a lady librarian. Yep. So I think that maybe almost gave me a bit of an edge, being that they were saying, "Oh, there's this interesting guy applying for the job," and to me, it just seemed like a space that had so much scope because along with a library comes all of media, in fact. So I teach a subject here called media studies. Wow. Which I developed my own curriculum for, and it's limitless to what you can actually go into. I'm only limited by the amount of classroom time that I get with the boys, but it's a subject that's so wide-ranging that we could be a media school for my money. The amount of areas that you can go into for as far as that goes.
That's cool, bro. Let's reverse and talk a little bit about how you grew up.
I don't have an amazing story. I grew up in the KZN Midlands. My dad was a forester when I was younger.
For Monday?
It was a company called HLNH at the time, and then Silver Cell. But this was in this kind of area, the KZN Midlands, where I grew up my first sort of earliest memories. And then just after 1994, my parents decided to move to Durban. And so I became a city boy and I attended Durban Preparatory Boys High and then went to DHS, Durban High School. So it was very, not exactly similar to this school. It was a day school. I wasn't boarding, but same kind of uniforms and same kind of I would say a little bit of a similar culture in a lot of ways to the schools that I come to work in.
What are some of your family values that you appreciate the most?
Of my family?
Yep.
My family always encouraged me to do whatever I wanted to do and to follow my dreams. They weren't prescriptive about saying, you need to be following a specific career path, or you need to be studying accounting so that you can be an accountant one day. They said, do what you're interested in, follow what you're interested in, follow what you love. And in fact, if I give away my mom's occupation, she was also a librarian. So you see where I got the idea to get into schools in this way.
So you were kind of encouraged at the home to study.
Yeah, well, I mean, not encouraged. It was just sort of instilled the love for books and reading, and knowing that how much reading can do for your vocabulary, for your brain, for your imagination, the benefits it has for academic work and school work. All of those things are so evident. Well, they were to my mother that for her, it became part of our upbringing, that we were read to as children, and that we had our playroom was a section that had its own little library of school books.
Wow. And you know what I find interesting is that most of families, or white people's families, they invest in reading. Hey, it's in TV. Hey, at 8 we know, Generations is playing,
Yeah.
And but I think I love your point when you're saying it's the investment towards your brain, towards imagination, and it's such a powerful thing, And how did you meet your wife?
My wife I met when I was working in Grahamstown. She's a teacher. She was working at Victoria Girls High School at the time, and we were kind of set up on a date. So,
how did that happen?
So we had these mutual friends who found us both to be interesting people, and they invited us over for dinner one night. And they said, "Oh, by the way, there's going to be a single young lady attending dinner with us tonight."
Okay.
And so I put on my best smile and brought along some beautiful bread for the table, because I knew I wanted to impress, and a bottle of wine, and we had an instant connection, and we were married just a year and a half later.
Yeah. So were you prepared that the lady that you meet is the lady that you're going to marry?
At that time, I was open to the idea of meeting someone that was going to be a long-term partner. But I'm still pretty picky about the kind of person I would have settled for.
Yeah.
So it was just fortuitous that both of us we met and connected in the way that we did. Yeah.
Wow. And let's reverse back to your library brain.
Okay.
Right. What kind of books do you read, and what's the most valuable lesson you've learned from the books you've read?
Well, I've always loved imaginative fiction, so I don't even put myself into a category when it comes to genre, but for the longest time, fiction or imaginative writing was the stuff that grabbed me. I love authors with style like Ian McEwan or Cormac McCarthy, people that would have a certain angle on the way they were writing and the way that they were playing with writing and words. But lately I have ventured more into non-fiction and things that are a bit more life lesson-y, let's say. So one of the books the last book we discussed when we were recording here last was Atomic Habits, which just talks about how to...
James Clear,
this book.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah, it was life-changing for me a few years ago. I mean, just because it was the first time that I was learning about things like having a morning routine and how powerful it can be to do the same thing every day.
Make things obvious.
Make things obvious, make things easy, reduce the friction in your life, and just do small things that add up daily. And I think that's still a lesson that I'm learning, and that I'm probably finding to be some of the most valuable thing I've taken from a book.
Have you had stressful moments in your life? And how have you dealt?
Well, listen, I think anyone that works at Michael House will tell you that it can be stressful at times. For me, reading has been an escape.
Wow.
So like I said, the fact that fiction has been a lot of the time my first choice of my type of book to read. It is escapism in some way, and so sometimes if you have the time and the space to put away the rest of the world, and you can lose yourself in a book and reading. So for me, that's definitely one way. At other times, I haven't dealt that well with it, to be honest. But I think it's something that everybody's exposed to. The better place that you can put yourself into. So if I've had my morning routine, if I've had my oats that morning, if I've done a bit of stretching or yoga or exercise or gone for a run or something, I'm going to deal with stress better during the day.
Sure.
So I think it's a lot of comes down to the space that you put yourself into is how well you'll deal with stress.
And do you think you studying psychology has helped you be able to deal with stress practically in your world?
Possibly not. No, it might have given me insight into maybe the brain chemicals that are released at certain times and what might be causing my stress. But I don't think that in itself might help you to deal with stress or anxiety. I mean, anxiety has been an issue that's come up for me in my life, and that in my later 30s that I've had to learn to deal with and grapple with anxiety as a disorder.
Yeah.
But as I say.
And how have you navigated through it, bro?
Yeah, really, it is those things about just putting yourself in the best space possible to be able to handle things. I have seen a psychologist who's given me some techniques and methods for just getting through things. I mean, for a while, it was when things were bad, it was breathing exercises and things just to literally calm my body and my nervous system down. But it's gotten a lot better, and I think it's really down to lifestyle.
Sure. And how did you come to the realization that you were struggling with depression at the time? Because I think people might be going through stuff, and when do you realize that I actually need help?
Wow, I didn't know the conversation was going to go this way.
It's free flow, bro.
Free flowing. I think for me, it was when I started noticing the way that I was treating other people. So when I didn't recognize myself in the way that I would speak to and was interacting with people, I said, that's not Jed. That's not how I like to be in the world. And that's when I realized that I did have some problems in that area and needed to address it and work on it.
Big ups, bro.
Thanks so much.
I like to be able to identify that you're facing challenges is a big thing, because a lot of people are in denial of what they're facing and what they're going through, and therefore not ask for help, and then the problem even gets further.
Yeah.
So how does a librarian at Michael House transition to being a center manager, to being a knowledge manager? How does that process work? How did it work for you?
Yeah, well, as I said, it's in the last couple of years, it's been quite a radical transformation because we got this massive donation by an old boy. So there was this man named Devesh Makan who, I knew the name Makan because I bought my first TV from a shop in Maritzburg called K Makan.
Yes.
So his father...
In Victoria?
So his father, K Makan, had this electronics empire, I suppose. And they decided to send their son to Michael House, which at the time, I know this because he spoke here, was a bit of a controversial decision because a lot of Indian families don't often like to send their kids away to boarding school. It's a very sort of an insular family and close families. So it was an unusual decision for them to send their son away to boarding school and to choose a boarding school like Michael House, which is quite conservative in its values, very Christian in its values. They were questioned a little bit about saying, why are you choosing that school to send Devesh to? But Devesh loved his time here. He had amazing things to say about his time at Michael House.
Wow.
And even though he donated the money to extend the then media center into now it's a media center, innovation center, recording studio.
Come on.
We've got a maker space upstairs, all of these communal spaces that can be used by the entire Michael House community. I think that's an amazing gift that he's given the school. But even he acknowledged that it wasn't about the buildings that made his time here. He said that it was actually about the interactions that happened in between the buildings here and there. So it was
that's deep, bro.
Yeah. So
the relationships that are key.
Exactly. So I think he had some good relationships. He had a good experience here, and obviously it set him up for a good career. He went over to Silicon Valley in California and became a money manager, and he had some amazingly famous clients on his roster, including Ryan Reynolds, Mark Zuckerberg, like huge names of the accounts that he was managing. And so he has done very well for himself and is still remembered his time here at Michael House, and his generosity is still felt today. That he's given so much back to the school that it's turned our humble and homely media center library into this incredible space that we're sitting in and walking through today.
Yo, hey, let's give him a big hand.
Thank you, Devesh.
Come on.
Wherever you may be today.
Thank you, Devesh. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so you progressed from being a librarian, and how long did you do library for?
So I mean, I'd been at the school approximately 7 years when the donation came in, and obviously we looked at what are the top media centers and the top schools and the top universities. What do those consist of? And so we did research into what the construction would take place and what features we wanted to include. And it did include things like these breakaway pods or these small spaces that are open for meetings that can be booked. It included a maker space, which we call our maker lab upstairs, where we've got 3D printers, electronics equipment, robotics kits. We've got, as well as, I mean, we keep growing the inventory there. So we've got a laser cutter now as well. What else have we got up there, Ambu? We've got small fleets of drones.
Fleet. We've
got a fleet. I love that. I love saying that. We've got a fleet of 7 drones that we can play with.
That's so cool.
And so it's all of these things that we're able to expose our students to, and the goal for the center is to get different departments interacting with their subjects in different ways, using the technology here, and for this innovation center to spread innovation to the rest of the school.
Yo, that's really incredible. Did you go to a boarding school yourself?
No, I wasn't at a boarding school. Yeah, I went at a day school. I don't know if I would have survived a boarding school.
And how is a boarding school different from a day school?
I think it's very different for the students that attend it. I think it's a much more intense and pressurized environment. I mean, for myself, I'm the kind of person that needs a certain amount of alone time in the day or in the week, where I can decompress, sort of process thoughts and get my own center of energy back. But at a boarding school, it's literally 24/7 that you are amongst your peers, interacting with them, having to maintain your social front, I think, in a way. And so I think it's a lot more of an intense experience for a young person to grow up into. Obviously, there's different personality types, and I think certain boys might be better suited to boarding, especially extroverts that don't like to be alone, that need that constant interaction. And, okay, obviously. So I'm not sure about your schooling background, but for me, I feel like boarding school, even though I didn't experience it, must be very intense and almost like how a diamond is formed under pressure under the earth. So it really forms some gems here at Michael House.
Also builds proper relationships, eh?
Really deep relationships, lifelong.
I mean, I went to to a day school. That's ghetto though. It's in the hood.
All right.
It's just dangerous.
And do you still have any connections from back then?
Oh yeah, Rish. Hey, people are struggling, bro.
Yeah.
You know, my school. I think at grade 9, I was in class with someone who was like 27.
Okay.
We were in school with people in their 30s. This is high school, bro. We were in school with people who had been in prison.
Wow.
And with people who had been just released from prison. We had stabbings almost every day. We had...
That's scary. That's stressful.
You learn to cope. There are coping mechanisms, you know. You just learn to live from the ghetto, you know. And but there can be greatness from the dust, you know.
Right.
Yeah, because even communicating to other people, I was shyish. The only language I would speak was just slang, strictly slang. Not even Zulu, bro. You know?
So
yeah, my Zulu is bad, bro.
So you said you learned English at 22.
Yep. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I do. This episode is sponsored by A46 Tech, our company that helps people gather the tech to build their own studios with our technical team. But even if you do not have the equipment, we come to you and we can shoot your podcast in your own space, in your own home, in your own company. So connect with us. In the description below, there is a link for you to connect with us. Would love to meet with you. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Were you still at high school?
No. No.
So when you say you spoke slang, what was that a combination of?
It's actually prison language.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's the language that you speak in the streets. It's the language that gangsters speak.
Can you give me a taste?
Oh, Osh.
Osh. Okay.
So if you say Osh, it's like Osh. You know.
Yeah. It doesn't come from Zulu, it doesn't come from English.
Yeah, it's not even Zonglish, bro. Yeah. If you say Shandis, I'm actually Englishifying the word Shandis because it's called Shandis.
Okay.
Shandis is like a thing, bro. You know, this pass me the Shandis. It's like pass me the thingamabob.
Okay.
You know. Yeah. So it's like it's ghetto. So if you say love in slang, you'd say Ngwailengawe. It's like if you.
What kind of love is that?
It's like
being in love.
It's actually
it's
overflowing
the most love you can feel,
bro. It's a overflowing love, and yeah. So that's the language that I grew up speaking. Oh, that's the language that shaped my thinking. Because the way I process things, you may speak things in English, I process them in slang, then it may go to isiZulu.
So slang could be your first language, you would describe it as?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. Wow. I understand straight lingo more than any other, you know. So I got exposed to English when I was 22, to English-speaking people. It shocked me to see white people who can't speak English. Because I wasn't trapped alone. Other German-speaking people were there, you know.
All right. And this was after school.
This is like 5 years after school.
Yeah, and you're living.
I'm still living in the ghetto.
In the ghetto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got exposed to English-speaking people,
German-speaking people.
German-speaking people. I didn't learn any German, bro, except this word "ich."
And what is that?
I love you.
Okay. It's all about love with you, man.
It's all about love, my brother. You know, but I love imitating people.
All right. So where did you pick up your broadcaster voice and language?
Who's interviewing you? Yeah.
You said I was allowed to ask questions.
Oh, the broadcasting thing.
Yeah, I mean, were you a media hound? Or did you love TV? Did you love radio? Was there any people that you listened to harder than others?
I got exposed to using cameras at church. And then I got an opportunity to MC, to preach, and then
Was it an English church?
No.
Okay.
Still in the ghetto.
Okay. You weren't preaching in slang, were you?
I am.
Okay. So
Actually,
you bought it straight from the streets.
Bro, yesterday,
Yeah.
Yesterday I said, "Ngcwele ngawe." I said, "Ngiyagcwala ngawe," or something like that.
Yeah.
And people laughed because they didn't understand what I was saying in church. It was awkward. But, okay. I loved acting and I love imitating people. So there was a period in my life where I was directing theater. But the ideas, I didn't learn it from anywhere. I just had ideas in my brain. And then I got people together, taught them what I wanted them to do. Went to a competition in Maritzburg. We happened to win my first show. We happened to win in Maritzburg. Then we went to Durban. We were in the top 3. I was like, hey, bro. And then we went to the Nationals in Johannesburg. First time in Johannesburg. I'm like, hi, bro. Yeah, it was an interesting story. So I've got
a natural gift. It's
yes, my mind can imagine things. So I visualize things. So when I think about a word, I know how it's going to be said, who's going to say it, in what tone, and how they're going to present that word. So I'd say a bit of acting there. I auditioned for some TV shows.
Okay, cool.
Didn't go so well. They took me in one film though.
Yeah.
Yeah, in one TV advert. Paid me well, the TV advert. And they never showed my face.
That's the thing about film.
Bro,
if you don't make the final cut, you still get paid.
Bro, but I made the money.
All right.
The question was about broadcasting.
Yeah.
Oh, then there was a time when I started, back then it was the word show, a TV show. I thought I was passionate about business. I need to interview business people, how they do it, how they crack it. And I quickly realized that business was not my number one passion, but leadership is.
All right.
Because I'm curious about learning about people's experiences, because we know a lot about the decision that has been taken, but we do not know the process of taking the decision, of the build-up. Okay. So I want to know the behind the scenes of you employing someone, of you firing someone, of you disciplining someone that you love. I want to know how you lead your family. I want to know how you lead your business. I want to know how you handle finances. I want to know how you impart knowledge. I want to learn your process. So I just started asking questions, and then we started. So the dream for this podcast specifically started in 2022. I was committed. I was like, 2023 January, I'm starting.
Yeah.
Hey!
And that's when you started?
No. I wish. I didn't start 2023 January. I was waiting for the perfect moment. I was waiting for the great studio, because I know what I'm looking for. Waiting for the perfect studio, waiting for the equipment. And it never came. The year went by. Then I think in October 2023, I was like, Aibo, this dream was supposed to be executed in January. Then I just had this revelation that says, a seed remains a seed until it's planted. A dream remains a dream until it's acted upon. And I was like,
I love that.
Okay. You don't start from where you hope to be. You start from where you are. I was like, Okay. Then I was speaking with another leader, Obab Zulu. I said, Baba, I'd love to learn from you. Please come home tomorrow. He's like, what's happening? I'm like, we're having a conversation about leadership. Yeah. He's like, I'm in. I just removed the couch, and then we started with just this one small camera and a phone, and that was it. And that's been a little bit of my journey in broadcasting.
Yeah, that's what I believe. Yeah, when it comes to media, that it is open to anybody now with the technology that we've got just in our pockets and our cell phones. that there's not that limiting barrier that actually you don't need to wait for a studio, to become available to you to make a start. I mean, sure, it's going to improve the sound quality and eventually your audience will demand that. But like you say, it starts with the seed. It starts with the idea. It's more important than what the finished product looks like or sounds like. It's how you connect with your audience.
And I also think procrastination is we delay the execution of our dreams, thinking that they're going to start perfect rather than starting. The thing that people fear most is just to press record.
Yeah.
Speaking to some other guys who want to start a YouTube podcast about sports on Friday, I'm just like, bro, just go to YouTube Live, just press record. This thing is going to upload automatically. The only thing that you need to do afterwards is to change it from being uploaded privately to public, and then it's out there. You don't even need editing skills. You just need to press record, and then you iterate as you move. And I think we spend so much time trying to make the content perfect, but people actually relate with our imperfections.
Yeah, I think that is true. Yeah.
Just so an encouragement to someone who's watching out there, wants to start procrastinating. Maybe they just have a phone. It's like, just press record. Your first video is not going to be the greatest video, but the way I look at it, it's like, when you're going to gym. Okay, don't look at my tummy because obviously I gym with food. but it's like carrying a small dumbbell today that is going to give you strength to carry a bigger dumbbell tomorrow.
Yeah.
So just be consistent.
It's getting over that. Yeah, the pushing that record button for the first time is a big thing because what are the red light fever people call it, where they freeze up as soon as you're recording. And I think that if someone like you, it takes bravery to get in front of a camera, to get in front of a microphone, to get in front of people, to get in front of an audience, and actually get a message out there, because it's not something that comes naturally to everybody. I know.
And you know what inspired me as well is I heard a quote that says, successful people do consistently what others do occasionally. It's by Craig Rochelle. I think that's dope. And start.
Now for you, it's easy to press live and to
just do it, bro.
It just comes out.
And also this thing that
there's an ease that comes.
It comforts me that if another person is watching on the other side of the screen, I don't know what their takeaway is from a podcast. But I know as long as it's adding value, it's either there's an audience of 50 people and there's an audience of 500 people or 20 people. What matters is that it's people that we are contributing to and that we're making a difference onto. And what makes Michael House unique out of all the boarding schools, according to you?
Well, a couple of things that make it distinctly unique are the fact that it is all boarding, so there's no day scholars here. It's all boys, and all the staff live on campus, and it's fairly remote. I mean, this location was chosen as almost like a monastic place away from the rest of the city, so it is a little bit of a drive to get out into the countryside. And I think all of those things combine to make it what it is. Which is a particularly unique place, and a very close place where a lot of close relationships happen and form, because we're all in this together. We're all in this all the time, all day. I mean, as soon as school holiday breaks, I think everyone goes all their separate ways. But while this machine is running during term time, it's very much, it feels like a team effort as far as staff working together, as far as even trying to get boys, get that same feeling of we're working together on this project.
Yo, that's cool, bro. I actually saw an article this morning that was on Business Tech. It was saying Michael House is one of the best schools in the world.
Yeah, we've gotten some really nice accolades in the press lately, and I think even the rector, or the headmaster, as we call him, the rector, has been one of the first to admit that this isn't based on technical stats or anything that is distinctly measurable. But the fact that it's been chosen in that category, I think, speaks to that it's recognized as being a unique place of excellence.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're really proud of earning that and living up to being called some of the best.
Yeah, that's really cool. And tell me about the idea of old boys. I see like most private schools have this thing of old boys. What's the value behind it, and what are some of the things that you teach students? I don't know, to become the old boys. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, to me, it's a little bit of a mystery in a way myself. I mean, I went to, like I said, not a dissimilar school, but it was a day school. It was a high school. I was maybe maybe not the most committed member of the school. I was a little bit of a delinquent, and wasn't that interested in being, part of the leadership school at school. I wasn't interested in, necessarily even playing for sports teams as soon as I could get away with it. So, and then once high school was over, I mean, I was kind of one of those guys that couldn't wait to get out of there and get out and start and do something else for a change. Here I am back in high school. But so I think I maybe have a different relationship to school than some of the passionate old boys of their schools have. But for some people, it might be the best time of their lives, and they look back at it forever fondly, and they feel a commitment that lasts past them leaving the school, where they want to keep giving back to the school because they know that it was previous old boys that came before them that made some of the opportunities available to them possible. And so there's what can I call it? Not a commitment, but a responsibility that they feel to give back. And so
I like that word. They feel the responsibility to give back.
Yeah.
And so how have you translated your librarian gifting, the Macan Center vibes into leading the young boys and helping them align with their dreams or discover their dreams?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of programs that are important to the center. One of them is called the Michael House Future Builders. So this is one we do with the grade 8 boys. And the idea behind this project is, I suppose it is a little bit about that idea of responsibility and giving back. But what we challenge them with is we expose them, in my class of media studies, I expose them to the ideas of the fourth industrial revolution, new technologies emerging, including robotics, AI, machine learning and automation, basically a lot of all these different ideas that come out of this fourth industrial revolution concept, and then challenge them to say, all right, imagine your school, Michael House, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now. What does that school look like? And can you create something that would contribute? And, so they've got to come up with a concept for how they can contribute to their school in a futuristic world that we're still imagining. And so they come up with amazing ideas, and we try to bring them to life using the facilities in the Macan Center.
Wow.
That's just a short 1 week project that we do midway through their first year here.
What's been the most groundbreaking idea that you've seen?
Well, I mean, they're not breaking ground per se, but one of the ideas is fully sustainable energy sources. So the boys are looking at, I mean, we've already got quite a lot of sustainability in the school in terms of solar panel coverage, but they were looking at introducing wind power and basically an array of different energy sources. Other boys are looking at making water sustainable, which I think, yeah. We're in quite a water-rich part of the world, but still, they were coming up with innovative ideas of water capturing, and so they had ideas of mist nets combined with a distillation plant, and little things that they would build and conceptualize and make models of, and then obviously they're able to visualize things using the studio. Probably the most interesting one was around biodiversity, though. So there was an acknowledgement there that biodiversity and ensuring that plant and animal life remains rich and varied.
Wow.
And so they had an idea for building a plant wall that would basically grow a variety of different essential natural plants that are indigenous to the area. I think it was like a moss wall. Essentially, was their idea. And
sure.
So I mean, they come up with all kinds of things in that project, and it's only recently that we limited them down to Microhouse. Previously, we'd been saying, okay, what could you contribute to the wider world? But we decided because they're in their first year here to just limit it down to look at the world around you here, and what could you build? What could you prototype? What could you conceptualize? And so they do come up with interesting ideas in that. And then it goes a step further in their grade 9 year, where there's an integrated studies component to the year that they can choose. It's an elective. They can drop out of their ordinary geography classes, accounting classes, everything except maths, their second language, and IT, I think, are the only subjects that they keep. And for everything else, their timetable opens up, so they get massive chunks of time that they spend in the Makan Center. And so they have the opportunity then to work in a different way with their teachers. So it's not that 100-year-old tradition of one person standing in front of the classroom expounding their knowledge to the boys. It becomes more of a team-based exercise. They work... we base it on the way that startups work in internet land in Silicon Valley, where people are coming up with startups. They come up with a goal. They come up with a timeline for that goal, and they call it a sprint. So we work in 2-week sprints in that project, and so it's exposing them to a different way.
And then do they get to sell their ideas to their peers?
Yeah. So it culminates with them presenting to leadership of the school, to old boys, to their coaches, who we don't refer to them as teachers in that space. They become coaches. So they're just guiding the process. So we think it's quite an innovative way of looking at education.
I think it's quite very innovative. Bro.
Yeah. And so they get exposed to those Fourth Industrial Revolution ideas of technology, but it's also based on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So there's 17 goals, sort of like eradicate poverty, make sure each child is educated, access to water and food to resources, as well as environmental on land and the ocean. There's all these goals that the United Nations have set out that we work with as a framework to bring them towards imagining a future that is more sustainable, more hospitable to human life and human flourishing. So it's a bit idealistic in a way, but I mean, I love it. I think it's exactly the way that I'd like to see education happening and focusing in.
I mean, like I love that it's not just teaching students the traditional way of studying, but it's empowering them to start doing things on their own, you know, and that's really cool. What keeps you grounded?
Keeps me grounded? That's a difficult question to answer. I think I'm constantly inspired by the other teachers around here. So I think comparing myself to the other educators, the other staff members that I encounter every day is a very grounding experience, if not a completely humbling experience. So for me, it's not difficult to stay grounded or to keep perspective, because I see absolute greatness in my peers and my colleagues.
Yo. That is really dope, bro. And what does the future look like for you in Michael House?
Wow. I mean, I've been here for a number of years already. But I can't, after the last week I've had, I can't even picture myself leaving or being anywhere else.
Wow.
At the moment. So it's been a really exciting week. I've had the opportunity to work at a marketing event that we run here over the long weekend called Weekend at Michael House, where we get...
What do you do at Weekend
at Michael House? So this time it was over 300 young men from grade 7s from different schools all around the country that are considering Michael House. And it's sort of our job to sell the idea to them and their parents that this is the place to be. But it includes they go to lessons that are specially structured for each of the subjects that they'd be taking part in. So they get to meet teachers from all the different departments and see them showing their stuff off. And so in science classes, they're setting fire to propane gas and doing these amazing experiments.
Sorry to distract you.
Sure.
The only thing I remember from science experiments is when you'd have to lie on top of those nails.
The distribution of weight. So if it was one nail, it would go straight through you.
Yeah. That's the only thing. Eh?
That would be a good one for Weekend at Michael House, because that's got visual appeal. So all the lessons at Weekend at Michael House are designed to be inspiring and amazing and attention grabbing, and so they get that experience. Then there's a lot of the outdoor stuff. So Michael House's facilities include, we've got this beautiful dam where they can paddle and fish. We've got we've got a damn nice dam. There's tennis courts, indoor basketball courts. There's paddle courts. This new trendy sport, paddle. So an old boy came along and made sure that Michael House had paddle courts at just the right time.
Nice.
And so they're out there canoeing, riding, chasing, playing on the AstroTurfs and the different. They basically get exposed to all the different sport facilities and outdoor facilities around here, including the beautiful nature reserve on our doorstep. So they got the classroom component, they got the outdoor component, and then they've got the Makan Center here, which is another sphere that's tangential, that sort of encompasses the academic world. And so here we put on a quiz in the evening to keep them entertained after a really busy day. And then on Sunday we had the scholarship winners join us for a special experience where we broke them into 4 groups, and they were working in here in the Makan studio doing recording. So we gave them a task to create a viral TikTok, or their version. Not didn't have to go viral, but they had to imagine what a viral TikTok would be, marketing Michael House or marketing their experience of Michael House.
That's cool.
Using the facilities that we provide in here. Then we had another group of boys running around the library conducting a scavenger hunt. So they were picking up literature and different clues and going from book to book and learning how to navigate, find their way around the library. In the maker space, or the maker lab, they got to see the 3D printers in action working, and they were challenged to design a bridge, basically a bridge building contest, where they were given some raw spaghetti and say, can you take this pasta and make it as strong as this kind of structure? Wow. Or how would you design and build a bridge using just this construction material? And then another classroom, we had drones flying around, and they were racing drones. And for some of them, it was their first time controlling a drone in the air, which is a little bit nerve-wracking. But
it's amazing.
The variety of what was going on, I think, really reignited a passion for working here. So I think the future is looking bright, and there's so many things that could sprout and come out of this place, 100%. And especially this what used to be called a library, I think is now going to be central to everything that's growing out of it.
It's an innovative space, basically. And do you think, with the way the world is going right now, we're gonna see a lot of younger millionaires and billionaires coming up?
millionaires and billionaires? I almost hope not.
Yeah.
I think hopefully there's two ways. There's an optimistic and a pessimistic way of looking at developments that are coming around. And obviously, when I'm interacting with students, I've tried to emphasize the optimistic view. But I think a lot of people that aren't exposed to or aren't going to be capable with things like artificial intelligence, that can't compete with artificial intelligence, or don't know how to bring artificial intelligence into their workflow and make it work for them, are going to be at a disadvantage. And so I think, even with things you were talking about earlier, like editing media. So you can take a long form conversation like the one we're having now and have AI break it down into a transcript. It can chop out little sound bites and segments that you could then put as shorts. And a lot of the traditional editing and other kind, and even media creation, script writing. There's all kinds of things, applications that you could be applying to just if we're just looking at the field of media production right now. And I think if people aren't picking up on those and aren't using those, then it might put more people at a disadvantage.
Sure.
If there's some other people that are learning those skills.
So we need to learn to make AI work for us.
For us, yes.
Yeah,
AI can't do anything on its own. It's it produces virtually meaningless content given it a run. As long as you've got a human being in the link that gives it meaning, and it knows how to that knows what other people are going to want to get out of it, then that remains important. So I think learning how to be the human link in the AI chain is part of keeping that relevance and keeping innovative.
I think from a security point of view in the AI world, I think it's important for especially teachers and lecturers to be able to filter out the right content and information. Because even today they can say, write me an assignment in English assignment, you put in the prompts, then at the end you say, make it sound like human. Yo, IT people, please help us.
Yeah.
And how many students do you have per class in Maker House?
I don't think we've got any classes with more than 24.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's really, I think that's the best number, to be honest, when it comes to one teacher to a group of people. But again, things like IT, so things like AI are making it more of a personalized experience. So I think you could have one teacher who creates 24 individual chatbots, and then essentially each child has their own individualized learning experience at some point. So, the more focused and the smaller the classes are, and the more focus is on the individual, then the better the outcome is going to be, I think.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So this is probably one of the second to last questions. There are people who have a dream and are not executing on it. They are scared, they fear, they see themselves in a position of being disadvantaged. They're looking at us, they're like, oh my gosh, great mics, great headphones, great audio, thanks for the great audio as well.
Cool.
And maybe they are discouraged as well, and they're not in a great space, even mentally, but they still have this dream and they don't want to die full of their dreams. They want to die empty. What did you say to such a person? You can look, I don't know, this camera. Oh, this one. Oh, it's already looking at you. Yeah.
All right. So I was talking a little bit about the pessimistic side, but I think that technology offers everybody an amazing amount of democracy when it comes to access to ideas, when it comes to access of executing those ideas. So you have the power to create whatever you want to create. You have the power to put it out there into the world. And if you've got content, AI can't reproduce the human heart. Okay, if you've got something to say, if you've got something to give, then you've got a platform to give it already. You don't need to wait for any kind of microphone to be put in front of you. You can use whatever you've got and start straight away, just like I was saying earlier. So, yeah, go for it. Would be my message. If you've got something, give it.
And tell me about the power of collaboration.
Oh, to me, collaboration is so important. I don't feel like I'm able to do anything on my own. I think the more people that I get involved working with me, the more creative it feels, the more energizing it is, and the more chance it has of connecting with an audience or people that I'm working for, or producing a message for, or a lesson for, or a service for. So I think one person can't contain all of the knowledge and all of the expertise, and a team is infinitely more powerful than the sum of its parts. So it comes together. It comes together a lot better the more collaborative something can be. So that's an emphasis for me for sure.
Yeah, I heard someone saying, alone you can go far, together we can go further. Further than you imagine.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Oh, that's really cool. Thank you so much for allowing us to come and use your studio and spontaneous interview.
Thanks so much for hosting. I thought I was just going to be in a technical role today and assisting with the setup. But it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're a blessing. And thanks for inspiring young people. Thanks for imparting your knowledge. Thanks for contributing into the building of the team at the school at Michael House. And thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Siyabonga. Friends, you need to start executing. And you don't start from where you hope to be. You start from where you are. Today is the day. Don't procrastinate. Do it. You can do it. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Siyabonga.